Hey y'all, it's taken me all day to get here to do your Monday meditation minute. It's been a full day, and this one is a little different. So I just kind of want to tell you a little story about something that happened, and it has to do with synchronicity and a book I read when I was about 20 years old. And I'm just going to kind of tell you some things that happened to me in this thing with control dramas, and how to know what you are and how that helps you interact with the world and your relationships, and like, why do you even care? I mean, it just tells you a little something about yourself and maybe about others in your life. And it's just been on my mind all weekend, and so I wanted to come on here and just talk about it real quick. So basically, this weekend I was thinking about a friend that I had not seen in about a year, and just hadn't talked to him, hadn't seen him, used to see him all the time. And he was on my mind, I was thinking about him, and I walked into a restaurant, sat down, and he walked in. And so it got me thinking about synchronicity. And I was thinking back about the first time I ever really heard of synchronicity, or really started just even thinking about it, was when I was 20 or 21. It was 1995. And I'm not sure why I read the book Celestine Prophecy. I'm not sure what my little 20-year-old self was doing, reading something like that. I think it was for a class I had taken. But anyway, it's not a book review. You can take it or leave it. It's pros and cons to it. It's an interesting concept. It's a fiction book, but he uses psychological principles as to our personalities and how we interact with the world, how we exchange energy with people, and basically just how we experience life. So I have always been a little bit of a seeker. I've always been inquisitive. And so I thought it was real interesting. So I was thinking about that. So I got up, I just woke up like really early. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday morning, and I went to see if I still had the book because it had been so long. So I found the book, I pulled it up, and I reread the whole thing right then. And look, if you read something when you're 20 and you read it again when you're 44, it kind of has a whole different meaning. You see things differently. So anyway, I had some notes I had made when I was 20. I was laughing at them because some were just so way off. And I made some more notes with my 44-year-old self. So anyway, I wanted to come tell y'all about them. I thought it was fun. I thought you may enjoy it. So I'm dating myself here, but this was back before Enneagrams. So you may hear a lot nowadays about Enneagrams and how you can go and take a personality test. You can there's free ones all over the internet. An Enneagram, if you haven't heard of that, is just a test you take, and it kind of tells you a little about your personality and how you act and react a certain way. So I'm not going to go off on that except to tell you I've taken the test 3 times. 3 different tests, and 2 of the 3 said I was a type 3, which is an achiever. One had that I had an investigator wing, and one said that I was a helper wing, which is just different character traits. But one time it said I was a 7, which is an enthusiast, and my wing number was a 3. The 3 is an achiever. So go figure. I guess I'm an achiever. There's pros and cons to both. There's things we do that are good and bad for each personality type. So it's real fun. If you haven't taken that, go do it. But I'm backtracking way before Enneagram. So this book is all about energy and the exchange of energy, and how we give energy off, and how we take energy from other people. Basically, energy is attention. So a lot of things we do to get attention, we're trying to get energy. It's usually subconscious. We're usually not even aware of it. It usually came from our childhood, how our parents were, and I'm going to get into that a little bit. And it's not right or wrong, good or bad. There's pros and cons to both, but you can just kind of listen real quick and see if you pick up on what you are, and then I'll tell you some tips you can do to kind of work that into your life to just help make it help you experience life more, but also to use your gifts. So we each have different gifts, and we live in a competitive world full of comparisons, and if you're comparing yourself to somebody that's doing one thing and that's not your personality type, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves anyway, but we do. So I thought this was fun. So I'm going to go into them real quick. They're called control dramas, and there's 4 of them listed in the book. And there's 2 that are passive and 2 that are aggressive. So I'm aggressive. The 2 passive, the first one is called Poor Me. Well, let me tell you what all 4 of them are, and then we'll break them down just real quick, briefly. The 2 passive are Poor Me and Aloof, just kind of there. The 2 aggressive are Interrogator and Intimidator. Does anybody want to guess what I am? So, the Poor Me is, you've seen it. We've all been around somebody that's a poor me. Maybe you're a poor me. When you walk in a room, you just feel a little bit guilty. Maybe they're always sick, or they always have a problem, or they wish they could do something you had done, or they may not even mean to be that way, but everything is just kind of poor me. So they learned that coping skill as they were growing up somehow. Typically they had a parent who was probably an intimidator, and so they got energy by being sick or being needy or something being wrong. And so it's kind of a coping mechanism. And then if you never become aware of it, you may live your whole life being a poor me. So that's one of them. The other is aloof. Aloof is just someone who you have to pull information from them. They're not going to give you a lot of info. My son is aloof, and you'll see why we're a perfect match in just a minute. I have a friend who's aloof, and I'm going to give you a good example. If we go to a Mexican restaurant, if I'm going to order fajitas, I'm going to say, I'll take a shrimp fajita, vegetables, guacamole, no tortillas. Thank you. This is how she's going to order. After she looks at the menu for a very long time, if she's watching this, she's going to know I'm talking about her because I tease her about it all the time. Then she's going to say, I'll take fajitas. And just sit there. And they're going to be like, okay, do you want steak, chicken, shrimp? I think I'll take the steak. Okay. Do you want guacamole, sour cream? Both? No, just one. Which one? Do you want tortillas? Yes. Corn or flour? One of each. That's how she is. I've been with her before where people say, do you want a glass of wine? And she'll say, yeah, that'd be great. I may say, I'll take a Pinot Noir. And she'll say, I'll take a white wine. And they're like, oh, there's like 10,000. Well, she'll first just say wine. Then they'll ask her what kind, and she'll say white. I mean, you're just pulling information from an aloof person, okay? The next one is an interrogator. I'm an interrogator. I ask 9 million questions about everything. I saved a paper that I wrote in high school because the teacher wrote me a note on top that says, you are very interested. Not interesting, interested. Because I ask so many questions, and I do that with everything. Like if I'm, taking on a new topic or doing something new, I'm going to research about it. I want to know everything about it. And typically an interrogator either comes from a parent who was an interrogator or a parent who may have been aloof. Maybe they worked a lot or they were out of the house a lot. So you had to ask a lot of questions to get your energy, okay? My son is so aloof, I have to pull information from him. So we're really a good match. I annoy him by asking so many questions. He annoys me by not giving me enough information. And it's a constant energy battle there. But now, I'm aware of it. He's aware of it. So we'll get along a little bit better. I'll ask fewer questions maybe, and he'll give me a little bit more information. And the 4th one is intimidator. So that's somebody that, you walk into a room, they make you a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. They may be a bully. They're the loudest in the room. They're the know-it-all. And they usually came from intimidator parents. I think that's right. So I'm not going to go too deep into what all the parents were. I mean, none of us are perfect. I had a great childhood. I have great parents. But we all just pick up one of those different 4 control dramas. And so that's the 4. The 2 passive are poor me and aloof. And the 2 aggressive are interrogator and intimidator. So basically what it does is it just tells us how to exchange energy from people. And you know, for most of our lives, we need energy, and we're doing it subconsciously. You know, if a poor me is getting sick and moaning and groaning and complaining to get some attention is energy, to get some attention, to get some energy from their parent who, you know, is whatever. So it got me thinking about how to get better at this. How to get. I'm always, you know, I'm the interrogator, and the interrogator has. They all have good and bad. So the bad is that I'm critical, mostly of myself. I'm not critical ever of people about anything material, like how they look, what they wear, who they love. I'm not critical about that, but I am critical to a fault about, well, why did they say it like that? Well, what'd she mean by that? Well, why didn't she do it this way? I caught myself doing that this morning too. But you know, the first step in any of this is just becoming aware. So you have to become aware of something before you can use it to your advantage. So we all have different gifts. We're all exchanging energy. But if we can learn to do it a little more effectively, we can use our gifts that God gave us to, you know, do whatever it is we were put here to do. So, first, like I said, is to become aware. So how do you become aware? Well, I mean, you could read the book, you could do some research. Yoga is a biggie for awareness, because yoga really is about mindfulness. You have to be aware. At first, it's physical. You have to be aware of where's your foot, where's your hand, which way are you turning. You may fall. And then it gets a little deeper, and you just get more aware of hearing your breath and being present and being mindful. So that's one way that you can increase your energy without having to take from other people all the time. Another thing you could do for mindfulness is, you know, you're washing the dishes. Go through the 5 senses. You're feeling the water on your hands. You smell the soap, you know, you hear the water, you're mindful, you're fully present. You're not in 10 different places at one time. You take a walk outside, and you smell the flowers, you hear the leaves crunching, you feel the wind blowing on you or the sun shining on you. You're just tapping into all those senses, and you're getting energy. And energy is real, so I'm not just like being woo-woo here. Some people think the book is a little woo-woo, and it may be, you know, but it's a fiction book, but it's based on psychological principles for the personality traits. Everything is energy. I mean, we're all like, you know, if you hear somebody say, I just got a bad vibe about that, or, you know, she puts off really good vibes, it's an energy exchange. Think about like being in the Superdome with a football game, and it's loud and people are excited, and that's a lot of energy, versus maybe being, you know, at home by yourself, sitting outside where it's quiet. So there are different energy levels. So we are always exchanging. So becoming aware, being mindful, that's one way to increase your own energy level. Another way for me personally is prayer. I just feel more energized when I pray. I feel more connected. I feel like I am lighter. When I take communion, I feel like my energy levels rise. Meditation, you know, you have mindfulness, you have meditation. Both of those help lift your energy up. Foods that bless your body. If you are eating really healthy foods, if you have a lot of fruits and vegetables and, you know, just whole foods, and you go to exercise or walk, work out, run, do yoga, you feel lighter, you feel more buoyant than you do if you've had a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke, and you can barely, you know, get on your mat. So there's a difference in energy. There's a difference in the way you feel by the foods that you eat, the thoughts that you think. You know, if you always go to worst case scenario, bad things that can happen, your vibe's going to lower a little bit. You kind of pivot those thoughts around and look at best case scenario. What's the lesson I'm trying to learn here? You'll feel your energy shift a little. Exercise, I think I mentioned that. So, you know, whatever that is for you. The beach, being at the beach. Like I already mentioned nature. The beach is one of those places where, you know, a lot of neuroscientists are saying people are happier at the beach. It's true. It's a higher energy level there. you just feel lighter there. It's just, for me, I do anyway. I know that's the case for a lot of other people. If you can't move to the beach, or you don't live at the beach, then you may need to do these other things. Add some other things into your life: healthy foods, exercise, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, and the last one is love. So that's, biblical. The greatest of all things is love. So it's easy to love your family. Well, most of the time it's easy to love your family. But it's harder to love people who think differently than you, who disagree with you. They're pulling at your energy. It's kind of why we tend to run in circles with people who think like we do, because we're not pulling at each other's energy all the time and feeling depleted. And when people disagree with us, it's like an energy pull back and forth, and we just feel frustrated and exhausted. But now that we know that, the book talks about ways that you can, just work around that. But love. So to love people that disagree with you, or to love people that are different from you, is a challenge, and it's something that we all have to do. And that's another way to raise your energy level. If you see somebody doing something and you feel a little bit jealous, it's human nature. We all experience it. If if somebody's playing sports better than you, if somebody's, you feel like they have more than you, or they're taking trips you want to take, or they're better at a business than you are, or whatever, and you get just that little bit of jealousy there, just stop right then and just send them some love. Just close your eyes, send them some love, pray for their success. Even if you don't mean it at first, you eventually will. You eventually really will. You'll be in such a habit of sending love, and what you give, you receive. So anyway, that was I thought it was fun. I had done this so many years ago, and then I had that synchronistic event with my friends, so I went back, reread the book, revisited those control dramas. I was an interrogator back then. I'm an interrogator today. But I am going to do things to, I'm always going to be inquisitive, because that's I feel like that's a good part of me. But the critical side, I got to work on. And I'm way more critical on myself than I am on anybody else. So I don't know, maybe you recognized yourself in the poor me, or the aloof, or the intimidator, or you recognize, it's always fun to recognize this in somebody else. It's a little less fun or uncomfortable to recognize it in our own self and see what we can do about it. So anyway, just becoming more mindful of how we're exchanging energy, what our personalities are, how we mesh better with certain people, and then doing those things that lift our own energy without having to take it from other people. So just real quick, I'll recap those, and these are mine. These are my top picks. Prayer, communion, mindfulness and manifestation, foods, exercise, and love. So I hope y'all have a good day. I hope this was fun. If you have somewhere that you meditate, or if you have a meditation practice, awesome. If you need tips for meditation, or you need a program to help you get going, I have some info. You can check it out at y'allbewell.com. There's a tab for meditation. So y'all have a good day, and y'all be well. Bye-bye.